okay. We're going to do some runs waters again, freshwater. We're gonna get some carp. We're gonna get some tench. We're gonna get some bream, maybe some roach. There's even perch in here. I've never had of those though, unless you're on the worm or maggot. Lovely today, but we're gonna have mixed weather. We're not going to see the blue as much, but we'll have a go. We've got a shelter around. See it down there just in case, because it's looking dark over there, you see. But the sun's out at the moment. We'll crack on. We've got the feeder rods out. We're going to try a bit of float. And we're going to see how we get on. See if we can get a bit of good amount of catches on film, and hopefully some decent sizes. Although I've been struggling with that last couple of years here. You get the numbers, but the bigger, weightier stuff, apart from the carp, you'll get the carp. Right, you'll always get the carp. They're constantly around you. But you're after the big tench, ideally. And struggling a little bit last couple of years, but we'll see. You've got to keep trying. You've got to have a bait in the water to find out anyway, so let's crack on. Like I said, I've never seen it as low as this. They must have had a really hot summer. Really dry, hardly any rain. But I've never seen the boulders that clear. It's quite exciting when you get the carp coming right in here, though. That literally backs are right out of the water. We'll try and get some of that on the video at some stage. But she's kicking up. She's rippling down. She's a windy one. There's the main lake. Big carp in that one. It's a big tench as well. And then 19 swims on this one. So you can get out of the wind down here. But it's September now, so you're going to get the dodgy weather every now and then. Session, I'm currently sat under the day shelter because we've got a lot of rain coming in on and off, so I've decided to peg the shelter down in a more of a permanent spot for a day or two. Just fish out this swim. Looks like the next couple of days after that, we've got some more sunshine coming, so I might move around a bit, but we'll see. I might just sort of hang around one swim and see if I can feed it. See the old midday fountain kicking off over there, getting the aeration going. Not that we really need it now with the amount of rain we're getting. But we got the rod out on the first cast. On the flatbed feeder again. Got the backrest this time. Just because I want that reel out of the way, really. I don't want it sat in that wet ground. And we're just over to this tree. Nice bit of shade there when the sun kicks out. So usually do quite well on over this side. So what I think I'll do is hammer it for a couple of days in the same area and see if I can draw them in. We're after big tench, really. Big tench or massive bream. No smaller bream. The carp can be a bit of a pain. I don't want to be catching too many carp. I'm really just after the big tench. So I've got a variety of sweet stuff and smelly stuff. See what they fancy. I had a couple already, but nothing massive. So we'll see how it goes. So we're down on the peg. I can't put the day shelter on the wooden peg because it needs to be clipped into the ground. So I've got the net over the side. This is usually where you'd sit when the sun's out. Got the rod over a 90-degree angle over to that tree, and then we've got the base camp. Nice little day shelter. You can peg it down out the window there. You've got the nice trees behind, giving me some shelter. Got the mat down ready. And then we got you can keep all your gear, all the rods, all the bait, the bags, your chair, everything else. You can just sit inside and not have to worry about these showers. So I'll just show you quickly for my I'm settled down. I've had a couple of casts and that. I've got my bait out. I like it to use the tubs because you've got a bit of depth on them. You've got a bit of side. You can mix them around. If you knock them, you probably won't lose the gear. I've got them next to me on the chair. That's how I like it. You could mess about with a table, but when you're on holiday, you just don't want to be taking extra gear that you probably won't need. So I'll have a main mix bowl. I like to do the feeder fishing, flatbed or the open end, and I like my moulds. So I've got my moulds. I've got my main mix, which will be crumb, a bit of pellet. I've got sweet corn today. I'll have some loose soaked sweet corn. This is in a thick molasses. Sweet molasses liquid, really thick. Just binds onto that sweet corn, just gives them that extra kick. I've got some pellets, some smelly pellets. I've got some smaller pellet which I can add to my mix. Catapult as well. Now I like to find an area. I'm usually like with the feeder rods. You can see there I've got it pointing down and I've got a 90-degree angle, so I'm over there by that tree. So I've got a rough 90-degree bend. With the feeder rods, you want to rely on that tip whacking around. That's your indication. I will have a bit of a drag set while I'm doing other things because there are some aggressive carp in there and they will come out of nowhere and rip the gear. So I like my wafters. I've got some coloured wafters as well. But the catapult, I find my area and I'm always putting some loose feed over it, whether it be pellet, whether it be a bit of corn, just around the area. It doesn't have to be exactly precise. Sometimes it does on these really busy venues, but a lot of the time here it's not got massive pressure, so it doesn't really need to be. Yeah, and just keep it going in, keep changing. If the bites are easy enough, do a few more regular casts into the same area, put a bit more feed down, and if you're getting loads of bites, then you can ease off a little bit on the amount. That's what I find works anyway. But be prepared to have a few cloths with you, because your hands do get messy. It's very sticky stuff, it's very sweet, and your hands will get covered in it, so always have a decent cloth with you. I'm going to do another cast, because again the bites have eased off a little bit, and I just want to keep a bit more bait going in. So, get off that tree. So, I like a size 10 or 12, a very round, smooth barbless. Something that will pop in easy. It's got a nice curve on the point. It'll go in, stay in, and it'll come out easy when you need it to. Very light, thin mono trace. And a little flatbed cage feeder. It's running on a swivel. It can slide up the line, so if that gets caught anywhere, that will come off the rig. I can tighten it down onto the swivel and it's fixed. Nice bit of soaked corn. Again, that just slides up with the barbless. It tends to stay on quite well. I'll just get some of this mix I've already prepared. I like to put a bit on the base, get that cage coated. And then put that bit of sweet corn on top. Get your mould. And then what I'll do is I'll hand put a bit extra over the top of the mould. Just so you've got a real good coating then. And we'll fire this one out. Again, into that same sort of area, that 80-90 degree line from the rod tip. Sink that line. Just have a bit of a drag on there. I am left-handed, but I find in this spot anyway, it's better to have the rod on the right side. I've got more of an angle to strike if I need to. I like a decent bend in that tip. You'll see the drop backs then. Sometimes these bigger fish, they'll pick the rig up and they'll swim towards you. You'll get a lot of slack line. It will just give me that indication because I've got that real bend. I can see the bites going forward and I can see the drop backs. And that's it. You just got to keep the cast going out. And again, probably every 3 or 4 casts, I'll put a bit out with the catapult. Keep that regularity going and just see. If you get a big group coming in, ease off. Because you don't want to, if you get a load of bream or tench coming in a group, you're chucking a load of loose feed out. They're going to be eating all of that and you'll be picking up fish in between. But you'll also be feeding a lot of the fish around it, so they'll soon have the fill and move on. But if you reduce the amount you're going in on one feeder, when you've got a lot of fish there, there'll be a bit more competition for the food, and you'll get a longer run of bites. tell you, it's non-stop, day and night. They're probably there in the middle of the midnight, messing about with food. They're just on a different level, especially the UK stuff. You just when you're back on the island, they just don't behave like that. They're so aggressive down there. I was playing a carp before in the net, and I still had fish feeding around me. They just weren't bothered. You can stand up, you can tap on the ground, you can have the net right in front of them. They're just so focused on feeding. I suppose there's that many of them in there. There's such a lot of competition. We've had a week and a half of lots of different things going on. We've had a lot of water snakes, a lot of carp, we haven't had the massive tench, but we've had a lot of tench, some bream, the odd roach. So it's kind of what's expected, really. Still in the bivvy, shelter, day shelter. This will be coming down the next day, but it's been nice leaving it up. So he's messing around with it. Really useful bit of kit. I'll be glad to enjoy this back on the island. Plenty of sessions through the winter. If I can get away with using this, it'll be a lot quicker, a lot easier than my old school bivvy.